What's going on?
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts feeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough cause climb. I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If you wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome back to Dead Air Live in a pre-recorded fashion with Ken DaCosta, myself, George Lopez. We thank you guys for joining us. As you will see below, some of the typical things we request to go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, and the reminder bell. And thank you again for joining us on our Sunday programming. And boy, we got some fun tonight. You guys... I love the diversity in this field, and this is not the first time we've met somebody who's multi-talented, but you know, just in reviewing a lot of what they have out there on social media, it just made me feel like, all right, they're in my zone, they're in Ken's zone, so we're going to introduce you to this individual right away. And Ken, if you'd like to do the introduction.
Yeah, and I love the different perspectives on this, and we're going to have one this evening. Ashley Bean is the fierce frontwoman, powerhouse guitarist, and creative force behind the Ashley Bean Band. With raw vocals, shredding solos, and lyrics that hit where it hurts and helps and heals, Ashley blends rock, blues, and attitude into a sound that's unapologetically her own. In total, Ashley has been a 12-time nominee at the Josie Music Awards, one of the world's largest independent music awards shows. Incredible. This highlights her consistent presence and impact in the independent rock music community. Nominations have been for Best Song of the Year, Best Music Video of the Year, which was Halloween, by the way. That's interesting. Rock Vocalist of the Year, Artist of the Year, and Vocalist of the Year. But Ashley has a dark side. Yes. She's also invested in all things paranormal. And today, we're going to find out why. So without further ado, let's bring in our guest. We are very happy to have her. Ashley Bean, welcome to Dead Air.
Hi, nice to meet you all.
Rock star, paranormal investigator. This is right in our wheelhouse, and we're so happy to have you join us tonight.
Oh,
everything going good?
Oh, it's going awesome. Thank you guys for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, and thank God we could get you on your schedule to be here with us. It's not an easy thing when you're doing as many things as you're doing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We appreciate it, to say the least. Well, what we normally do, as everybody, of course, that watches us knows, I'll be stepping off stage, give Ken the spotlight with you in the first half hour or so, and then I'll come back and we'll reconvene this conversation.
All right.
See you in just a little bit. Ken, off to you.
Thank you, George, and away we go. And of course, I'm kidding about her dark side. Or am I? Or am I? We're going to find out very shortly. You know, Ashley, it's in the paranormal field, people come from different walks of life. Musicians are no different in terms of their interests, you know, outside of their vocations and their skill sets. So let's start right at the very beginning, because people come to this field for different reasons. You know, some have had experiences, some are just very curious about what it is that's out there. So why don't we start off with you telling us a little bit about how you came to dip your toe in these waters?
I think it all started when my family, we live in a small town, and we lived on one side of the town, and then we moved to a bigger house because our family was getting bigger and my parents needed more space to put all of us kids. So we moved into this house that was built in 1898, I believe is what the records show. When we moved in, we kind of checked it out. It was outdated, so it needed a lot of updates and stuff like that, but it had enough rooms for all of us, and we happened to see this attic in my sister's closet, and we happened to go up there, and we noticed that the whole inside of the attic was all charred, like it had been caught on fire at one point of time. It wasn't too long after that. I had been about like 12, 13 years old. I had a friend that came over and didn't know she was going to do this, because this was like a surprise to me. She actually brought her Ouija board over, and as a kid, I didn't know what I didn't know what those were, and I'm like, okay, like I don't know how to play this, but all right. And we did, and we got to communicate with a boy. His name was Devin. He died in the house at 12 years old. We found out through a historian that their house did catch fire back in the 20s, and that there was a boy that had passed away in that house. So I'm like, okay, so that's kind of interesting, finding that the house was charred, and then finding out this information through the Ouija board, and then through a historian kind of confirming all of that. It was later we found a photo that was dated back to 1920 of that house with a boy in the picture in the window, and that freaked me out. I was like, okay, all right, well, that's confirmed that. There was one night I was home by myself. I had been probably about, I think, 12, I was still around 12, 13 years old, right around that time. All by myself, and just watching a movie, and I happened to look over to the left side of my room, and there was a full body apparition of a boy. Like, he had black hair. I mean, he had that 20s outfit look. You couldn't even see through him. Like, I thought somebody kind of just broke into my house and got a boy saying, hey, you know, I'm here to play. And that freaked me out. Later.
Now, and during that, just want to jump in for a second. Was there an acknowledgement of you? Did it look like he was aware of you as you were aware of him?
He was staring straight at me. I'm like, I think he knows I'm right here, because I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. I think he's aware that I'm here.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I think he kind of connected more with me simply because we were right around the same age. So that's what I think why he felt so big, like he connected more with me than anybody else in my family. And wasn't too long after that, like, my town is known to do some pretty dark things. It has some reputation of doing some pretty nasty, like, rituals, I guess you could say. And about a block away in the woods, now I know somebody who is like an officer out there and stuff like that, and he's witnessed some of these these rituals go down, and the whole block has had issues, I guess you could say. My aunt lives like 2 houses down. She's like, there's always stuff moving in my house. There's always something going on in my house. I can't figure it out. And there's a old hospital right across the street from my parents' house. Like, I can look out my bedroom door or window, and I could see it used to be a hospital back in the day, like for tuberculosis and stuff like that, and thousands of people had, from what we have heard from the people around the town, that a lot of people had passed away.
So where you live, you checked off all the boxes.
Yeah.
Hospital, creepy woods, rituals. Yeah, I mean, sure.
It's an old 1800s town. I think the first house was built in like the 1820s, so it's a really old little town. And this hospital is now like an apartment complex, really nice, done up. You would never have thought about this being a hospital, but it used to be back in the day. Our street that we live on is nicknamed Hospital Hill because of what it used to be. And supposedly that is highly active, from what I have heard from the people who have owned it throughout the years and people who have lived there. It used to be a retirement home, and then it turned into this apartment complex. It's a lot going on in that town. Just this little dinky town that's 3,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, and you have all sorts of rampant emotions there. You probably have tragedy, unfinished business, people that are forlorn, a wealth of emotions that people left this earth with. Let me ask you this. Now, thinking back on this now, do you have any kind of belief as to what this little boy wanted? Was it recognition, acknowledgement, or exactly why do you think that he made himself available to you?
I think he passed away at a very young age and didn't really get to experience life and be around others. And I think he felt attached to me. There would be times I just look through, go past the hallway. I could see him sitting there on the floor in his little trousers and stuff like that. And he always followed me around the house. And I just think he just wanted to be part of the family since he kind of just passed away so young. Our town did get hit by a tornado back in 2010. At this point, I was just graduating high school. Fresh out of high school, and our town just got hit by like an F2, I think, tornado, and it went straight down my street. And after all this chaos that happened with this tornado, something made the town active. This whole tragedy that we had, it caused more activity in our home. I know for a fact, simply because it's all started off in my brother's room, and there's this 8-9 foot, 3 feet across black mass. It used to be like this black cloud that stood 8-9 feet tall and 3 feet wide, and it would always linger in his corner of the bedroom. And he said he could hear things shuffling back and forth, and he said the thing would put his hand on his back and he would be paralyzed. Like he could feel something pressing him down where he couldn't move. It wasn't too long after that, it kept shaping into more of a human form. My parents still live in that house, and there's still a lot of activity. My brother went into the military, and anytime, because we have a military base that's not too far from here, and he would bring his military buddies over, and they would stay the night so that they can all just carpool and head over to the military base for drill over the weekend. It got to the point where his battle buddies would refuse to start staying in that house. He said there's something evil in that house. I don't like it. You could smell the smell of nasty in the house, like that rot smell.
Sulfur type smell.
Yeah, there was something not right with it, and it started taking more and more of a shape to the point where people are like, it's a full body human that's 9 feet tall. It's now you could see the head, the shoulders, the whole body, the whole thing.
Right. Let me go in this direction before I go back in another direction, because we're liable to do that. We're liable to change tracks on the railway whenever. So whether this is amorphous, black mass, shadow person, whatever this is, have you ever given much thought to that in terms of, is this how it was being presented as the classic shadow person? Or do you think that these things are spirits that may not be able to fully manifest themselves into what we call an apparition? Because you did say it started to take on a sort of human form. It's just asking for an opinion on that.
Yeah, it's hard to say because this thing it's definitely intelligent because it made itself known to me. One night I
Mhm.
was sleeping and I'm a very light sleeper. And that goes back to my childhood. Ever since my house got broken into, I've never been able to like sleep heavy. I've always been lightheaded or I just wake up to like a drop of a hat.
Yeah.
And ever since then, like this one time now, my little sister used to sleep in bunk beds. Is how this all began. We shared a room, and this thing made itself known to me, and I wake up immediately, and it takes off. We had this black lab sleeping in the kennel, and it starts going crazy, growling, wanting to fight something. My mom gets up, she jumps, she heads up to the staircase. She starts listening down the staircase. She said something that was heavy running around, like it was 300 pounds running around, just making a whole bunch of noise. The next morning, my sister woke up and she had thousands of like claw marks, I guess you could say, like very fine, like a cat's nail, like that really fine tip claw mark and
Yeah.
straight lines in every direction on her back. She's like, my
Yeah.
back's burning, it hurts. And I'm like, that's uneasy.
Well, things start getting physical. So, what is, I've been doing this for a long time, around 50 years now. And I was a pretty normal person. I was in a band, I played sports. It was just, I had this weird hobby. But what it always comes down to, whether it's in a private residence, a public place, or where it is, it comes down to who are you and what do you want?
Mhm.
At the end of the day, with all the frills, it comes down to what is it that you want? So looking back on that, because, I don't know how much trauma, I don't want to be melodramatic about it, but looking back on that, what do you think that it wanted? Was it just simply like territorial, like this is my place, you're not welcome here? Or what do you think?
I'm not really sure on that because it's really hard to tell because it would never touch me. I thought that was really strange. Like anytime
Mm.
I would move into its presence, it flee. It would just go away, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm protected by maybe God and guardian angels or something. Maybe I'm protected for some reason. But it would attack certain individuals in my family just out of nowhere. That was strange. My parents did own a grocery store, which was a block away too, which had another figure that was that 8 feet tall. Did the same thing. It would get physical with people, throw things off the shelf, and then anytime I would move in its presence, it'd take off. And I actually had a coworker that witnessed that. She goes, "I'm going to stay next to you because for whatever reason, it doesn't like you."
Well, a lot of times, and whatever the family dynamic was, that's not my business. But did you feel in some way that the others who would come under, let's call it attack for lack of a better word, that maybe you thought they were more vulnerable than you are and it was like easier prey? Maybe you had a stronger sort of barrier with you or something, because a lot of times these people, I say people, whatever they are, they'll pick on children or, females who aren't as strong. And they'll prey on what they decide are the most vulnerable. Do you think that that's kind of in play?
I believe so. Yeah, I am a Christian. I do believe in God and Jesus and stuff like that. So I do believe that I believe I was protected in some way. And there are some people in my family who've got anger issues, who like to go out and party with their friends. And so I think that's like more of a weakness to them. So it kind of levitated more towards them than me.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, fair to say. So I take it as you grew up and you moved out, that whatever this little boy was, you never reconnected with him, or did you?
After our tornado had hit, this was like, because our town was a mess, so there was a lot of work to do to fix things up. When things finally started settling down, that's when my mom and I sat down on my bed in my bedroom, because that's where the attic was, and that's kind of like where he kind of just chilled in our room majority of the time. And we said, because when the tornado hit, I felt a sense of peace over me, like if angels were present at the time when the tornado had hit. And there was still this peace within the house. So I said, if you want to go, you go. Like, there's no reason for you to stay here. And then he hasn't been seen ever since.
Now, watching some of your TikToks, and I mean, you're smart and you're engaging and you tell a story, and basically you're breaking all the TikTok laws. Yeah. Because you're not performative and running around screaming or anything like that. You seem to be more curious and trying to connect with people.
Yes.
So when you eventually evolve to the point where it's like, now I want to go out, because you're probably like me and a lot of other people, you read about it, you hear about it, and then at a certain point, with me it was around 18, I wanted to go see these places that I read about, and I wanted to talk to the people who were telling the stories to say, okay, what's the deal here? I mean, is it real? Is it, let me get the vibe for these people and the places. That where you found yourself?
Yes, like, I'm very curious in the paranormal. I love history. That's another reason why I was so excited to go to London, because I get to see castles and stuff that were like 1,000 years old. I'm huge on the history and stuff, and I like to be around that kind of stuff and just hear from the locals and hear from other people's experiences, and then start feeling what am I going to experience.
Right. So let me ask you something now, and this is, I think this is a no-brainer. So when you are on tour, I'm going to get 2 questions here for the price of 1. Have you found yourself staying in a haunted location? And does it ever come a point where you literally seek them out?
There was this time I was at, it's a place in Illinois that I was performing at, and the place is known to be haunted. I didn't have any personal experiences, but the owner, sometimes she actually had a room set up there, so when she would come down from New York, she'd just stay there, because it was like her club, and like bigger acts would come in and perform. She's like, I don't like staying here because there's something creepy that's going on. She's like, I don't know what it is, but there's things moving around. I hear things at night getting thrown in the bar area. That was one experience. I haven't been in too many places that, performing wise, that have had much activity, but that place was, I don't know the history of it, but it seems like that building's been there for quite some time, and she bought it. I don't know if she still has it open or not. She might have sold it, but at that time when I was going up there, it's up in like Pontiac area. I think Pontiac's more closer to like the Chicago area and stuff. Yeah. And she got creeped out a lot. She didn't stay there very much when she came down.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wore the Cub hats today in your honor. So, Illinois, go Cubs. Okay. So do you believe that spirits can attach themselves to people and objects?
I guess I could say I could see it. Like with the little boy, he kind of attached himself a little to me, like he gravitated more towards me, and I think he just saw me as like a sister, a playmate, like somebody to have fun with. Right around his age, I think he just attached himself to me. And I think some objects, like when I go antique shopping, I'm always like, is this thing haunted or not? I don't want to bring something home that I don't want.
Are there legends? I mean, I know of a couple of haunted instruments, whether it's a guitar or a horn or, a particular object.
I'm not really sure on that. I mean, I do own a violin that was my great-grandfather's, which supposedly dates back to the 1700s. Yeah. That he used as like a fiddle when he played bluegrass, but I've never had any activity with it. So
you've never had him come in and suddenly you're playing Rachmaninoff and nothing like that. It's funny you talk about theaters and stuff like that, because I've had the opportunity to do quite a few. Mm-hmm. And almost without exception, whether they're concert venues or they do plays, almost without exception, you walk away from it with something going on. And I've always wondered why that is. And the closest I can come to it is it's a place. These are places that had big personalities.
Yes,
The roar of the crowd, the acceptance, the energy that you get back, and
all sorts of characters coming through.
Yeah. So why would I not care to go back, spend some time there?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because, and going into another question that's important, let's talk about ghosts and spirits, because I look at it as two different things. A ghost is kind of that repeating pattern. And this is why I asked about the little boy, where you see something walk across your room and go through a wall. Doesn't acknowledge you, doesn't even know you're there.
Yeah.
Then you got spirits. And in my mind, they kind of retain their human characteristics. They're aware of you. They're aware of where they are. And they seem to be exercising free will.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just come visit because there's something going on today. The Ashley Bean band's playing. I want to go check them out. Tomorrow, I may be someplace else. Do you think that's mostly the case in the experience that you have, that you think, for the most part, that spirits do have free will and they do want to be here and they do want to communicate if possible?
Yes, like I've had that experience back in 2017. My grandmother had passed away. I was actually going to head to the hospital. We live about 40 minutes away from the hospital, and I was going to get ready to go. And my mom called me. She says, "Don't bother. She had just passed." Half hour later, she spoke to me into the house. She's like, "Ashley?" And I went, "Grandma?" And she started trying to tell me something. And I think she was trying to tell me that she was on her way, that she's in a better place. And that was the last I ever heard from her.
Do you think, because it's left brain, right brain type of thing sometimes, do you think that creative people, artistic people, musical people possibly are more open to these things because they're operating off a different type of frequency in their brain, and they might be more open to these things? Or have you not even given it a second thought?
I could see it. Yeah, I do personally know a few other musicians that are paranormal investigators, and they are the same way. They're interested at all in this paranormal stuff and figuring things out and understanding it, just like how I am. So I think our creative brains want us to see more.
Right. Yeah. So I got to ask you this before we get out of here, because this is a hot topic issue, right? Are Ouija boards legit, or they're just a spooky game?
It's real. I don't personally will play with them, just simply because I've always heard that they were a part of the cult or witchcraft. They have they can be used as dark. Even if it's just a game, I think that you could potentially somebody use it like in a ritual and make it become a portal.
Yeah, I think that we didn't think about that. And I'm old enough to have been a teenager when, the Exorcist movie came out. Prior to that, no one looked at a Ouija board like it could contact the underworld.
Yeah.
And then suddenly people start doing crazy things with them. Mm-hmm. They take them to cemeteries. They put them on headstones. Yes. They take them into whoa. It's like, it's not in the instructions.
Yeah.
But we have this thing in us sometimes to tempt fate, and maybe because we like the adrenaline rush or something like that. In terms of you going out to places, how often do you get a chance to do it? And is there any type of place in particular you like to go to, or is it just a matter of what's available?
I have never really gone out of my way just to go look for things. Usually I tell it to come find me if there is any issues or anything like that. But one time my boyfriend, he decided, because I'm a big history buff and stuff like that. Like that's how I got into the Bartonville Insane Asylum. I'm like, oh, I've never been there, which is a massive building with cemeteries, and there's still some structures, outer buildings that they use for that insane asylum that I believe are still standing. That they kind of do ghost tours, and like it's kind of like a haunted attraction still. Right. And he took me there because I like history. They have like a cemetery for the veterans that were there, which I thought that was amazing. That kind of separated them from everyone else to kind of give them their own memorial. And then there's I believe there's 5 cemeteries is what this, we met this gentleman who was just mowing. His job was to mow the graveyards. That was his job. And he did all 5. And he's like, oh, people only know that there's 4, but there's actually 5. And ghost hunters, I don't know if you remember the famous ghost show, the Ghost Hunters. They actually came out to investigate the bar.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it only because I've got this guy's number in my phone named Jason Hawes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I know his whole family. We've been friends for a long time.
Yeah. He took me out there, and I wasn't looking for anything. I just was wanting to obviously pay my respects to the victims who had passed, right. And just to learn a little bit more of the history. And one cemetery, you definitely felt a very dark aura. It was very sad, depressing, dark aura. Since these were pretty much mistreated patients. And that was what I felt left behind. I can't remember the tombstone I walked up on, but I was being drawn toward a certain tombstone, which we found out in a book that they were some important person back in the time. And I don't know who, I can't remember. I think it was a female, but I can't remember her name. But that freaked my boyfriend. I was like, how did you know to go over that cemetery or that tombstone? I don't know. I was just, the energy pulled me towards that way. Then we went to a second cemetery part of the insane asylum, and that's where the grave digger is known to be seen. I've never been there, and this time we had my little sister and my boyfriend there, so I had 2 witnesses, and we were just standing there, and all of a sudden I see this mist manifest over this certain tombstone, and my boyfriend, he didn't see it, and he just said, I bet you guys can't find the grave digger's own grave. And I said, it's actually right over here. And he goes, where? And we start walking towards it. I'm like, he's showing me where he's actually buried. And he's like, how did you do that? Well, there was a mist over his own tombstone.
Yeah. Right. All right. So before I bring George in, last point, and I'll be back a little bit later, but being involved in the paranormal is great for a history buff, isn't it?
Yes.
I can't stress it, and I know it's a little weird, it's a little odd. You can go read books and take history tours and things, but one of the happy byproducts of being interested in this is if you're interested in history, they really go hand in hand. I know for me, I don't have any white light rituals and things like that before. I just want to know everything. I want to know who the players are, who was there, why they were there. I can't get enough of it. And if we don't walk away with an apparition, I still feel like I'm better off because I learned something about a family or a town.
Yes.
And I'm good with it.
Yes, that was how I was over in London. We went to the Tower of London, which I knew was a very haunted place. It's, 1,000 years old, and of course it would be. Why wouldn't it be? It's had hundreds of thousands of people come through that place throughout the time. And I'm like, well, I never got to experience anything because the amount of people that were there going through the tours and stuff. So it was really hard to see or investigate anything, but I'm like, there's definitely going to be something haunted here. I mean, why wouldn't it be?
How can it not? So Anne Boleyn, not looking for her head, nothing like that.
I did see where she got executed at, though.
Bummer. Well, okay, that was a bonus. So, all right, Ashley, I thank you for your time. Maybe we get back into this a little bit later, but right now I'm going to turn this over to George, and we are going to talk about your other passion, your other love of music. So it's been a pleasure. I'll catch you on the backside. Thank you.
Thank
George?
you.
Thank you, Ken.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages. Now showing on Dead Air Full Spectrum YouTube channel.
New episodes of Extremely Strange coming soon.
Every alternate Thursday on our channel.
Every Thursday. Opposite. Well, that was weird.
In cemeteries across the world, some headstones hold more than just names and dates. They preserve cherished family recipes, etched in stone as a lasting tribute. These recipes are more than instructions for a dish. They are connections to loved ones, memories of shared meals, and a way to keep traditions alive. In this series, we'll be honoring these unique culinary legacies by bringing these recipes to life. With respect and gratitude, we'll cook the dishes exactly as they were meant to be enjoyed.
New episodes of Last Bite coming soon.
And now, back to the broadcast.
Ashley Bean joining us tonight. I wanted to delve into a couple different things, but I wanted to find out from your aspect of this field, the paranormal, do you have a favorite show, or was there a couple that you used to watch? Which ones?
I watch obviously Ghost Hunters, and I watch Ghost Adventures, the kind of more of the popular ones. I enjoyed watching. I used to watch, I think, the Ghost Collector, or he used to collect items. I can't remember.
The Haunted Collector. Yeah.
Yes, that one. I used to watch another one where they had the homicide detective and that psychic that would go in. I can't remember that show.
Dead Files.
Yes, that one. I used to watch that one. I used to watch quite a few of them.
I invite you, in your spare time, obviously, to go back to our channel and just scroll down, because Steve DeShavi from Dead Files has been a guest on our show. As Ken said, Jason Hawes has been a guest on our show. Grant Wilson's been a guest on our show. Nick Graw from Ghost Adventures. So some really good conversations with these people who have been a cornerstone of what it is that we do, at least from the media entertainment side.
That's neat.
So my first question, I think, because I want to definitely delve into the social media side of Ashley Bean and the Ashley Bean Band, but going through your TikTok, the first several years, quite a few years, were posts of your band playing, concerts you've been to, the awards that you've won, and then March of this year, you took a turn.
Yes.
And began talking exclusively about and asking questions exclusively about the paranormal. Why did that happen?
Well, I feel like it's been a calling. Ever since I was 10 years old, I was always called to do, I always had a much higher purpose. And that is what I thought through music and stuff, which I still love my music. I still do it. And I don't regret it at all. At 12 years old, I was at a church. It was like an event going on at our little hometown church, and we had invited a well-known prophet. She had prophesied like 9/11. She did like a lot of prophecies. I don't know if she's still alive, but she was also like not a very like big time gospel singer, but she was kind of known, but she was known more for her prophecies. And I think she went off by her name. It could have been a stage name. Esta was like her, I think might have been her stage name, but I don't think she's still around. But one evening my mom was starting to talk to her, and I started walking up towards her. She was already like 65 years old at this time. So she was a much older lady. And she had sang at our church and showing us some of her music that she did. And she was kind of talking about some of her past prophecies and what had came true and stuff like that. And she stopped talking to my mother. She turned and she looked directly at me, and she put her hand on my shoulder and she said, "God's going to use you." I was like, okay. And then she said, "And you just need to relax." And for the longest time, I'm like, am I tense? Am I really tense? Like, is that what she means? But then I realized I need to relax and enjoy the ride of what's going to happen. And I've always had this sense like I need to start helping people more with the spiritual realm things, because I do believe I have some sort of a gift, a discernment or something. I can always sense evil. I've had dreams and stuff like that of the end times. I've seen the Archangel Michael. I've seen Jesus. I've seen been in the presence of angels. I've been in the presence of, I believe, something demonic. I've seen demonic entities in my dreams, some that they want to attack me, but they can't because I believe I'm protected by the blood. So it's a lot. And I think that's all led up to this, because I finally made my decision this year. I'm like, I really need to start talking about the paranormal, hearing other people's story, their experiences, and hearing, and maybe I can help or give a kind of more of an insight of maybe my experiences, and share the trauma I've maybe grown up with them, and kind of give them some kind of a comfort.
You've got to be a little bit pleased, I would say, from the answers and the questions that you're asking. There's a ton of people in there that are sharing their stories with you.
Yes. Yeah, I was not expecting it to blow up. I thought maybe I'll get a few people, and then I like 1,000 comments. I'm like, okay, I wasn't expecting that.
Now, do you have a kind of a plan or a game plan for honing those skills? Because it's absolutely necessary to get out there in the field, absolutely necessary to test those abilities over and over and over again. And not just rely on, am I thinking it? Am I imagining it?
Yes.
But validating it with what we call in the field compounding. You have an experience, but you're also bringing equipment to help validate that experience as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that part of that game plan?
Yes. Yeah. Because I want to make sure that I'm actually, am I really feeling this, or am I just imagining this? Because, we could be, or did I see that in a corner of my eye? Oh no, it was just a leaf blowing. So.
Yes. So if this is something that is of interest to you and you want to hone those skills, you want to practice those skills, how would you like to start in this field? Meaning, you're going to start small with, as a lot of people will start off, they'll go to just a lot of these haunted tours. As you said, you love history. You go through there, see if you feel anything while you're going through a walkthrough in the daytime. And will you raise it up eventually, raise that bar to perhaps either joining a team or going to investigate a place with a small group of your own?
I have thought about that. I wanted to start off kind of like what I'm doing on TikTok, just asking questions, getting people's experiences, me sharing my experience, and kind of start going to places that are and visiting like cemeteries or anything that is old and historical, since I really love history, and getting the history on the place or area, and start kind of seeing, do I feel anything or not? I know there's some paranormal groups that are around here. I have been invited to, there was one time I was supposed to be going on to an investigation, but I couldn't because it landed on a day that I just could not go. But I have people around here that have said, you want to come along, we'll take you.
Perfect. Yeah, jump on it, especially now that you guys are coming into the good weather days. It's tough in the winter, especially up there in Illinois, but now you're coming into that time frame, like optimum opportunities to go out and do that, find that place and do some investigating. I would probably, and this is just experience talking, stay away from anything right now that has been labeled demonic, has been labeled sinister, but just make contact with the history of a location, a historical location where maybe a president grew up in, things of that sort.
Yes.
Find your niche, and then, which is the general part of investigating, and then you will find eventually where you are best in your specialty, whether it's the equipment, whether it's the psychic medium abilities, things of that sort. But it's a great journey. As Ken was saying, once you're involved with this, it's kind of addictive. The more experiences that you have, the deeper you want to go down that rabbit hole. So again, getting back to the TikTok and of course, your YouTube channel, you're also on X, you're also on Facebook. I noticed, which is kind of counter to who you present yourself as, which is a Christian, and certainly the way that I perceive watching those videos, that you were more of a dark, kind of a soul. You're not like that at all. But in the music that not only do you perform, but in the music that you admire and enjoy, there is more of a darkness to it. Is it that, and again, there are people out there that listen to the tone of the song and go, this is goth, or this is, something that's heavy, and miss the lyrics. And is that what tends to happen? Do you pick up more on the lyrics and understand the message better?
Yes. I definitely try to put a message in my lyrics as an artist. I try to connect with an audience, if whatever I experience and I put it in a song, somebody else, even if it's one person who can relate to what I experienced because they went through the same thing. Like,
what's Monster about? Tell our audience.
Monster? Okay, yeah, that is, it's almost like, I'm going to use Taylor Swift as a reference. It's when her album Reputation came out and how all these rumors were going on about her, how she's a snake and this, and she took that image and made it herself, even though it wasn't about her. It was about these people being a snake, even though they were calling her a snake. So she goes, okay, I'll just play the image then. That's what I did. I decided I'm going to take this as I'm being called a monster for things I never did, said, or done, or whatever. And I'm just going to use it and say, okay, I'm the monster you created. So that's how that song got developed.
You find yourself then thinking about the possibility as you delve into this field, some lyrics coming out from it?
That I have not thought about. Yeah, I haven't thought about that at all.
And it's not just about the fact of, I saw a ghost, I'm going to write about a ghost.
Right.
I felt sorrow when I went into this building, or I felt fear. The emotions behind what it is that we do, which are absolutely valid and genuine. You know, you don't know why.
Yeah.
You're going in as just a cold operator, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, depression just
Yes.
completely envelops you, and that's got to invoke emotion, and you have an outlet to be able to put it into words.
Yes, I believe I have that with a couple of my songs on my new album, Warrior, which Warrior is one of them. I think Soul on Fire and possibly The Joker. The Joker is kind of like, I kind of use the
Joker's cool.
Batman theme, Joker a little bit to where it's where people think the Joker is a joke, like you're just nothing but a joke, but really they're playing you as the joke. That's how that kind of song was wrote. And then like Warrior is definitely with all the battles that I've been through and just being beat down time and time and time again. But no matter how many times somebody has beaten me down, I've always gotten back up. And people are like, how is this possible? We thought we destroyed you, and here you are fighting your way through. And I think that's where Soul on Fire comes in, because like my soul is on fire for more. I'm hungry for more. And no matter what you throw at me, I'm gonna keep on going.
Are you influenced by any particular artists? And again, you saw Taylor Swift in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've posted videos from a band or an artist by the name of Ghost.
I do enjoy their music. I know they're kind of more on the darker side of things. I like a lot of theater. I like Alice Cooper. Like I like a lot of people who bring theater into their
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes, I like
Yeah.
that stuff. So I do like Ghost. Some of their music, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should be listening to this song. It's pretty dark and pretty dark lyrics. I don't want to be kind of listening to that. I'll listen to maybe more of their poppier stuff.
Well, again, it is performance art, and
Yeah.
there's so much of it that's out there too. Again, I was a DJ for 25 years, and some of my favorites were Nine Inch Nails, Tool, Typo Negative. It's all about the theatrics behind it, and it kind of fits the genre of the paranormal.
Yes.
And there's something different than pop. That's good for the ride to or from an investigation. But
Yeah.
when you want to get psyched in, just listen to any one of those artists out there, and you can go absolutely right into that psyche, that mentality of, I'm prepared for whatever I encounter after watching that music video. Popular Monster is another one. So I enjoy it a lot. But to me, what I tend to find more than anything else is that you have, I think, just started back with your YouTube channel.
Yes.
And now as you're moving forward with that, is that going to be multi-platform? It's going to be exclusively because it's Ashley Bean Band YouTube.
Right. Yes.
What about Ashley Paranormal Enthusiast?
That's what I'm trying to. That's where I've been on the fence with. I'm like, well, I just started this YouTube channel back up, and I have a friend who he's a big time radio host out on the East Coast as well, and he's got a ginormous radio station, and he loves what I'm doing. Getting back into my YouTube channel with my music, and I've always been on the fence, like, what shall I do? Should I do both, where it's investigating, talking about ghosts and music, or should I make another completely different channel and just do paranormal with that one and keep this one separate? I've been on the fence with that.
When you find yourself now, are you on a break in a sense from concerts and writing?
Yeah, I kind of just been doing more of just writing my music. I'll go into the studio, I'll release it, and kind of doing more of that, kind of being more of like that songwriter who just releases music, and then we'll go to some award shows if I get nominated and stuff like that. Do some music interviews.
So you have kind of a guidance right now as far as, and we all know this from social media, keeping relevant. You have to constantly create content in what it is that you're doing. Do you have a thought process, evolution wise, going from the questions that you're asking on TikTok right now? What is the inevitable next step? Or have you even thought about that yet? Because there's a lot of questions you can ask.
Yes. I've already got a list going that I have, like, checking off what I need to ask, because I'm trying to go through this checklist and check everything off and asking people these questions, and hopefully that will build up to maybe going on going some places, a historical place, and start going through there. And I mean, I have posted some videos of the Tower of London, but not much have I talked about it. Wasn't able to experience anything in there due to the amount of people that were visiting at the time. But I hopefully that will take off to maybe that direction.
Will there be future visits over to Europe, at least in the crystal ball? Nothing set in stone. It's not going to be a regular pattern thing.
Yeah, nothing's set in stone. But if I had the opportunity, I enjoyed myself. I definitely love the places over there. I would love to see Ireland. I would love to go to other like Germany. I would love to go to other places and look at all the old castles. I'm so fascinated with castles. I have no idea why, but I just am.
There's so many beautiful ones. I was stationed in southern Bavaria, Germany for 3 years in the Air Force, and I actually got to visit so many castles, including the one that Cinderella's castle was designed from, Neuschwanstein Castle. Ooh. And it's just absolutely incredible. So, yeah, you would have a blast in southern Bavaria. What about stateside? There's some huge, incredible buildings, especially, again, in the New England area that you can go to visit. But any particular place that from watching the paranormal shows to your reading and your history of interest, where you would still want to go here in the States?
Oh, I think there's like several places. I know I would like to go see the Gettysburg battlefield. I think I saw an episode from Ghost Adventures where they were filming at night and they kept hearing cannons going off, and I thought that would be really cool to hear and see. And I've seen other people who would post on TikTok actual videos of like soldiers walking and stuff, and I'm like, that's pretty interesting. I'm trying to think of anywhere else that on top of my mind that would just.
You got so many places to start with, it just can build up very, very quickly. And it's one of the interesting parts about the more that you get involved with this and the more people are answering the questions that you're posting on TikTok, where is the place you've seen is most haunted? And you'll start hearing these historical places over and over again to go and visit.
Yes. Yeah, most definitely.
We've got maybe about 6 more minutes left. Ken, if you wanted to join back in, if there's anything that you wanted to add, but I covered a lot of different things out there that I wanted to, and I'm sure there's things I'm going to forget. But a couple of things that once we're off the air, I had to ask you questions on also. But wanted to bring Ken back in here in case he wanted to follow up on any of that. Ken?
Yeah, sure. Immediately, when you were referring to juxtaposition between music and lyrics, immediately the Steely Dan thing comes into my head, where you got this bebop poppy music and these sardonic kind of lyrics, and I'm a sucker for that. I absolutely love that. The thing I wanted to ask, I guess, before we get out of here, is that do you believe sound and music can influence or trigger paranormal activity? For example, have you ever heard of the Singapore theory?
I don't think I've heard the Singapore theory.
Okay, so what it is basically is it's kind of like a trigger object, like you're taking something from that generation, a locket or something, to see, okay, is this familiar to you? But they do it with music. And we've done that, like from the 1800s, we might play anything from Baroque to bebop to jazz to 50s rock, whatever that particular era is, and do it in a part of the location that was the most social, like not up in a bedroom or something, but let's say there's a gathering room or a meeting room, where back in their time, people used to congregate, play cards, gamble, have dinner or whatever, and use music to see if it can influence paranormal activity. And I look at you and I'm just saying, it's like, oh man, it's right at your feet. Just to pick up a guitar and go into a location. Well, here's something. Do you enjoy this? Do you recognize this?
Mhm.
So just going forward, I think that would be a really cool thing to try.
Yeah, yeah, I do believe music is very powerful. I believe it can connect us spiritually. It is scientifically known that music can actually release amount of dopamine in the human brain, which is a natural just high for us when we get to like listening to something in the car on the radio. We're just getting all pumped up, or if we're sad, it's that release of that dopamine. So I do believe there's some kind of sort of a connection that you could use with music as more of a kind of, I guess, a gateway of some sort.
Yeah. There's also a theory about attachment. We talk about that spirits will attach to get those dopamine rushes when somebody, if they used to be a smoker, they will attach to somebody who smokes, or somebody, if they enjoyed sweets, will go to somebody who is baking, things of that sort.
Right.
So I can imagine also somebody who in their previous life was a musician or a musical enthusiast would attach to somebody who's doing that because they're getting the high off of that musician.
Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would do.
I think the last thing that I wanted to ask you is that you shared your own experiences as a child, basically growing up in a place like this. Has it gotten easier as the years go on to share that and talk about it? Because a lot of times it's like, you're not going to believe this, but you might think I'm crazy, but.
Yes, yeah. For the longest time, that's where my decision of kind of starting to talk about it is. For the longest time, I didn't want to tell people because I thought like they wouldn't believe me, or they think I'm crazy, whatever. And I've only have told like a few people in my family of a lot of my experiences because either they have experienced it or like they do believe in it. And just something changed within me that like, okay, I think it's time to start sharing my story and start maybe helping others.
That you led me into my next question. When you say this, do you then have people come to you who have had a similar experience and they feel less of a burden to share it with you?
Yeah. I've been getting a lot of messages on my TikTok. They have been blowing up with people's own experiences. Like, thank you for allowing me to share this. And I'll even, if they say in the comments, oh, my story's too long, I said, share it anyways. That's okay. Just share it anyways.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing because a lot of times people just want someone to hear them out.
Yes.
And if you want to share with Ashley, trust me, from a firsthand experience, she will respond back to you.
Yeah. I read everybody's comments. I will respond to you. And if I can't respond to you, you'll get that little heart like I read your stuff. It's me.
We will be watching, Ashley, in your progress and your journey through this. All of our viewers now have been introduced to you. You may see them turning up in TikTok. You may see them be turning up on your Facebook page and just wanting to kind of get to know more and more about you and your journey through this, and also with your music exploits, which we are just so thrilled to have you join us. And, feel free anytime you want to make a song about dead air as a title, knock yourself out. It'd be great. I appreciate it, Ashley. On behalf of Ken DaCosta, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best in your future.
Thank you so much.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Pleasure.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised.